what's going on? And welcome back to the A Show with the Kings Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin, here with Meelz. I'm eating breakfast, so I'm being rude this morning.
Oh, that's fine. Listen, we're here. I'm nourished already. I had lunch already. I had breakfast. I don't know. I guess for breakfast I had Frosted Flakes, and then lunch I had whatever my mom made. But yeah, what's up, man?
What's everyone's views on Frosted Flakes? Because I fuck with them.
I love Frosted Flakes. They're great. What? What a slogan. They're on point with that one. I love Frosted Flakes. What's your favorite cereal, just in general?
Right now, currently, it's the strawberry Frosted Flakes. They're turning the milk into strawberry.
Huh. I've never had those. You know what? I'm not in for the gimmicky cereals. Usually turn me off because I feel like sometimes they're trying too hard.
Yeah.
So most cereals I don't really get into because I'm like, all right, what? Like protein Cheerios. Like what do I need those for? But as we'll say, and of course the police sirens. Yo, there was a huge. You have no idea. I gotta send you this video. There was a major car. As much sirens as we hear around here, there was a major car crash in my neighborhood like 2 days ago.
So there was more Scott Steiner sirens,
Bro. So here's what I learned from the people that were outside. Now this may not be the true story. This is kind of like hearsay. So we'll see what happens. So apparently, this car was racing from the police and there's this like island between these two like major streets. There's like this island. So he hits the island. Um, his car goes through the traffic light, lands on the ground, and like completely crashes. So what I heard is he broke his legs. Um, and legitimately his car caught completely on fire. The entire thing is donezo. Like we were all outside watching it like, wow, this is the most insane car crash we've ever seen in person. Smoke billowing up in the air, fire like Kane's Inferno. It was nuts. I gotta send you the video. I'm gonna send you it right now.
It sounds like it was living out a mission from the brand new masterpiece on PlayStation 5 called Spider-Man 2 that everyone's talking about lately.
How's that going? I had a couple of I was on a fake campaign for that, but it never worked out. But how is that going?
Hey man, I like it a lot. It's really good. I think that being in New York earlier this year, it has all of those locations that like I was at. The financial district it has everything there. So the map is like much bigger where it
I
has
mean, it
more.
don't get to the nitty gritty of New York. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm sure they're not going to put East New York and Brownsville in the game.
Brownsville is in the game. Brownsville
It's
is in the game.
I gotta see. All right, I gotta see how this Brownsville looks in the game. If it's really
Astoria,
authentic.
Astoria is in the game.
Astoria is
Queen,
Queens. Shout out to
Queen is
Queens, but shout out to Jeff
um,
J. But
Harlem.
Queens, the rest of Queens, I don't really mess with Queens. But go ahead.
Harlem is in the game. All them little boroughs that y'all stay at, little boroughs and shit. I
Is the
don't know nothing
Bronx
about.
in the game?
Yeah, the Bronx is in the game. The Bronx is in the first game.
Okay,
But
all right.
it's like a bigger map, so like there's more of New York in it.
Check the video. I just sent it to you.
I can't play it with sound, but I'm looking at it without sound right now.
Okay, that's fine.
Wow, this looks like some Spider-Man 2 shit. I love how you said that people outside were telling you what happened. I'm like, that's such a New York thing to do for someone to be like, hey, what happened out here?
Hey, what happened? He hit like it was a whole thing. Like, and then when they were putting out the fire, the smoke ended up coming our way, and that's when everyone was like, "Oh nah," and we all went inside at the same time. A collective "Oh nah."
Everyone said at the same time, as if it was
Absolutely.
destined.
So I'm conflicted this week because I have a lot of good things going on this week, and I have one annoying thing going on this week.
Okay, shoot. Is this an office hours or is this a regular?
No, this is not office hours. No, work is standard.
Standard procedure. Okay.
Standard procedure. So the good things that happened this week. First of all, this week, I think on like Thursday or Friday, it will mark our 6th anniversary of doing this podcast. So that's something to celebrate.
Yeah, that's great.
Um, Shout out to 6 years of us. Um, Lookout had Ricochet back on. That was awesome.
Shout out to Ricochet. He's a friend of the show, friend of the gang of the brand.
Absolutely. What else happened that was good? Oh, NBA is back tonight. I'm loving it. I've missed NBA so dearly. Like I don't you don't understand how much of my free time was taken up.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Okay.
You don't love NBA. You love the betting.
No, 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 no. First of all, I love both. But you don't understand how much of my time was occupied. So here's how the betting leads into my love for it, right?
Yeah.
Um FanDuel has this promotion. You bet $5, you get 3 free months of NBA TV. It's amazing. Um,
That's how they're suckering you in to
I'm
bet.
I'm fine being suckered because it is a free streaming service that is normally $15 per month, and I'm getting for $5 once in 3 months. Um, So I said, you know what? Like I would watch it, like I would stream it really um before. I would stream it on whatever sites I would watch it before. But I was like, you know what? I have this. I can, cast it to the TV. I can do all these other things. So now, like on a weekly basis, I'm up till 12:30 in the morning watching LeBron or watching like whatever West Coast games or whatever thing. And I was just like, so much of my free time was taken up because it's just something you can have on in the background. And then of course somebody will do something crazy. So
Yeah.
I've been watching it, got a few teams I love. So I'm very excited for that. The challenge is also back this week. Super excited. Don't even have to fake attempting to watch AEW. It's just never going to happen anymore.
Yeah, that's over. For the
Yeah,
next 18 weeks, that's a wrap.
it's a wrap. For at least the next 20 weeks, it's a wrap for sure.
Well, here you know something that's funny. Like my boss and another one of my coworkers are huge fans of the challenge. So for
Ooh,
how
okay.
we got a team outfit, and guess what the team outfit was? We
What is
got
the team?
challenge jerseys, baby.
Oh, that's fire. See, I would love to do something like
And
that.
we have like like custom names in the back. So guess what my name is? Guess?
J5.
Oh, it's Justin Bananas.
uh, Look at you. Okay. That's
Uh
great. That's great team building. That's great team building. I love that. I love
I
that
mean, I
for
don't know
you.
if that's great team building if I'm fucking bananas, but yeah. Uh-huh.
Bananas is I fallen in love with him. He's a very charming guy. I've been watching House of Villains too. Um,
My wife is in, or I don't know if she's been watching it, but she's into that for sure.
it's a pretty hokey but entertaining show considering the cast. Um, the cast seems like still the the sum of the parts is greater than the whole kind of thing, but collectively they all know what they're doing. So they're all reality TV veterans.
Yeah.
Um, so boom. All right. So here is the most annoying part of my week.
Okay.
And get ready for this.
I'm not, but go ahead.
I have been shadow banned on Twitter.
What?
Yes. Yes.
I still see. Do I see you?
No, you don't. So here's what it is. You can see I haven't tweeted in at least a day. So there we are with that. Um, but here's how it works, right? Because I had to look it up. Because I was noticing, because it's not that I'm super tapped in with my engagement, but like when I reply to stuff and people don't reply back, I'm like, what the fuck? I had a great joke there. Um, Even to you, like a couple days ago, I replied to something that you did, and I don't even think you saw it.
What
Um,
did what was it?
Remember the MHA hate thing?
It made shit. Oh, I saw that. I saw that. I saw it.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
it must have happened after that.
Yeah.
Um, because I was noticing, I was like, I'm not getting any engagement, traction, anything. Like even the little views tickers, it'll say like 9 people saw it. I'm like, 9 people saw it. I'm me. What the fuck? Um,
Wait, now it's saying that I don't see your reply doesn't pop up in my.
that's right.
What the hell? That was crazy. I definitely saw it. It was laugh emojis, right?
I don't think so. No, I think I had like more insightful things to say, but I might have done a laugh emoji too. Um,
Oh wow, yeah. What did you do? What
I
did
don't
you do to
know.
make it so bad?
So I don't know. I never do anything bad, right? So I was looking it up, and I was like, I mean, first of all, there's no one you can run to at Twitter now. Their support thing has been dead for months. So there's no one you can run to at Twitter unless you actually know someone in Twitter, and I'd hate to be the people who actually still work there now. But yeah, it was fine early Sunday, and then sometime after that, suddenly like all my replies, I can tweet and people can see it. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Um, but my replies to things, they've like muted all my replies to people. So I remember I tested it on the Lookout account. Um, I replied to something on the Lookout account and I couldn't see it on the Lookout account. I was like, this is nuts. I'm being silenced.
I think
So
it's
it's
because you always do those close friends posts, and they need you to be public, bruh.
no, I mean, I don't always do it, but I still see people doing it. But um, I'm suspecting it was one of my tweets that I had on SmackDown.
It's Edge. It's Edge that did it.
Maybe, right? Imagine. Um, no, but I was like, this is so strange. This is so weird. So I looked up like what you're supposed to do if you're a thing on Twitter, and it says it can last anywhere between 24 and 72 hours. But the first thing they suggested, they were like, do not tweet, do not share, do not tweet, do not do anything. So this is interesting because it comes on the Ricochet interview, right? How am I
Yeah.
supposed to share it to my peoples? You know what I'm saying? How are people supposed to see this thing? Luckily, Ricochet tweeted it. Um, but yeah, I can't share or thing anything. Like I'm abstaining from Twitter until at least Friday. Um,
I'm
so
sorry, bro. I
it's
think
okay.
that you
My
it's
thumbs hurt.
it's because you constantly, you know, rile up these AEW fans,
You think
and
so?
yeah, I think that's what it is.
You think it's because I made that tweet that when you look at the Collision audience, they could do the wave and it would never come back around?
Did someone respond to that?
No.
See that? Can I even find you? Is my question at this point? Yeah,
That's a
you're
good
still.
question. Yeah,
I
I'm still there. So I'm not completely like banned from the system. Not like
I see.
completely shadow banned, but I'm like they say it's ghost banning, where it's like my replies just don't go to people. Like people won't be able to see my replies.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, I can't see your replies. I can't see that.
Yes.
The
Yeah. So
collision joint is crazy, bro.
it's nuts, right? Well, first of all, that was hilarious. But then I'm like, all right, let me stop. If it doesn't thing after 3 days, I'm just gonna go back to tweeting like normal and wait till it figures itself out. Or maybe I'll be more banned. I don't know. But I
It's
don't know.
definitely
I feel like
seen the photos. They do the wave and the shit will never come back around. Gee, I'm gonna retweet that right now.
yeah.
I'm unshadow banning you.
I appreciate that. Maybe if everyone retweets me, they will unshadow ban me. Maybe
Yeah,
that's how we
I'm
do it.
shadow banning you. But let's get into the nitty gritty of this week.
Okay.
Slow week, just all around for wrestling. I think we've had so much to talk about, so it's kind of weird that no one's wilding out. Tony Khan's not on Twitter. None of that stuff is happening
Not
this week.
yet.
Well, not yet. I mean, they bounced back. You saw their rating for Dynamite bounce back heavily, back on their regular night. It's probably going to just go back down to what it was this week. Doesn't look like a stellar episode again. Collision even had. But what is your measure of success for Collision? Because when I see articles and I see pundits, so to speak, I don't like to call them journalists so much, but when I see them say and crown it as improved ratings when it's only from 300 to 500, I'm like, that is that improvement when this is the number two company? Like, is that really improvement next to the number one company? Like, what's your thoughts on the measure of success for AEW Collision? What, 4 months, 3 months in?
I don't really have any thoughts because it's really moved from honestly, it never really even seemed like the second show. It seemed like a show at some point. But it never really felt like it was a companion piece to Dynamite. So it's very hard to like gauge it as other than just like Rampage Deluxe. You know what I'm saying? Like the deluxe version of Rampage, because it never there was the only thing that separated at one point was that CM Punk was on this show and he couldn't be on the other show. And certain people could only appear on one show and not the other show. But now that CM Punk is gone, everyone's floating and everyone's thinking between the shows. And I guess Bryan Danielson is the center focus of this fucking show now.
which is crazy. Like I love Brian, love him. He should not be the centerpiece of these shows
No,
with all these people on this roster.
not a wrestling television show. No, but it's it's weird because so every month they're gonna be like, well, it's a pay per view time. Let's move it to 7 o'clock and see what happens. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, is that gonna be it? Football. They're expecting football to like kind of do, but then NBA will be back. Not that anyone watches. I mean, sometimes they have a good Saturday Saturday ABC NBA game, but um, and now they're gonna do NBA games on Wednesdays too on ABC, which is
mhm.
nuts.
Yeah. And again, it does. That's gonna take a huge chunk out of the Dynamite audience again. Just a terrible night for them. And again, you also see the Battle of the Belts ratings. What was it, like the second lowest viewership for this show?
Was it?
397. Yeah,
Well,
397,000 people. It was like a 3 hour block of AEW on
yeah.
like.
Thing is, that it didn't really seem like Battle of the Belts is something they are not good at promoting television at all. I think they just are so secure with like, let's book this wrestling show, let's do this, because the mere fact that I didn't know there was a Battle of the Belts going on. And I really think the only way you knew it was happening was because there's a number one contender match on Rampage. But you would have to watch Rampage to know that there was a Battle of the Belts going on the following night.
Mhm.
But it, to me, there's just so many things wrong with it. And the promotion of their shows, how they cater towards people. I saw that Cope wasn't on. Cope didn't show up this weekend, so that's probably good for him.
Oh wait,
Um,
hold on. He didn't show up. He said he's gonna be there every week.
he wasn't here this week. It was a Bryan Danielson episode.
Oh, did you know that the people who show up in the intro for the show, that's what the show is gonna focus around this week? Just
That's so stupid. Like, it's so stupid. It was a Bryan Danielson, Eddie Kingston Miro episode. Like
Miro.
Miro, right? The ghost of Miro. He still exists. You know? Talk about someone who I think poorly made a very, very poor decision in re-signing to a company that never utilized him in the first place. Like, that's just, I don't know if it's a bad agent. I don't know if it's just bad instincts. I don't know if WWE, he pissed off someone at WWE so bad he knows he just can't go back. But
You can't go back without Lana. That's what it is.
he could have taken Lana. Lana would have been back, maybe. Like, I feel like Miro. He's in the best shape of his life and he's doing nothing. But maybe he likes it that way. Maybe everyone likes the extra. There's so many police sirens this episode. It's crazy. Um, but maybe he likes it that way. I don't know what to say. Like, maybe everyone just likes to be paid an exorbitant amount of money and doesn't really care of the quality or how well they're featured in the show. Maybe
Um,
there's nothing you can kind of do about it.
yeah, I mean, I look at I look at these shows. I mean, even in our Discord, conversation's never been lower. I mean, on Saturday they were talking more about the Impact pay per view than they were talking about Collision. Like I look at just
Right.
conversation that surrounds this product right now, and there doesn't seem to be any excitement for it. And to be fair and to compare it, like you see probably the most interaction that we see every week is for NXT. You know what I mean? It's rivaling Raw at this point in terms of just conversation. And I think, you know, WWE in general is the fact that they're still hot, even when they're kind of punting on a lot of these shows, is a testament to just how much people believe in what's going to happen on these shows
Right.
eventually. You know what I mean? Like we know that Survivor Series is going to happen, and you see on the shows they're slowly building to it. So that's pretty exciting. You watch week to week to see that, see what Rhea's doing. Even if a lot of the creative isn't the best on these shows every week, we know that it's building to something. AEW seems to be building. Like, what's the full gear lineup right now? Who's going against who? Do we know?
I would assume MJF versus Jay White is penciled in. I would assume
Why they haven't
Darby.
announced this already is insane. Like there's no
Well, I
reason
don't
to
know.
not.
He's still the belt. They're still doing the belt stealing thing that they've done a million times. Like, maybe it is announced. To be honest with you, I keep up with AEW to a certain extent, but I do not watch the shows anymore. I legitimately sit and listen to Quan and Cyrus lament about the shows on a weekly basis. MJF versus Jay White has been announced apparently.
Okay.
Um, but I listen to them lament about the shows, but honestly, I don't care. And it's going to be in Inglewood, California, the night after. Is it the night after? No, Survivor Series is the following week. Okay, cool. Um,
Which again, you know, in their home, in basically their hometown in Chicago. You know what I mean? It's sold out.
well, no, this one is in Inglewood, Full Gear. Well,
I know.
oh,
I'm
you
saying
talking about
Survivor
Survivor
Series.
Series?
Yeah, I'm saying Survivor Series in their hometown. Like Inglewood, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I feel like they have a pretty good market out here. I think people really do like when AEW comes out here. I think they genuinely have some people that they really fuck with them out here. But you know, you just compare the product to like whatever's happening. It's like, and again, like let's just call it like what has Cope's first month in AEW been like? I mean, he's had a match. You haven't talked about the match. I haven't seen anyone else talking about the match. He's had a bunch of promos. I've literally seen Cyrus say, "Please shut the fuck up. We do not care about this history lesson. We already know." Like it's
Yeah,
been like,
I don't know. I didn't watch the promo last week because I also felt like the rated R rebuttal thing was promoted that Edge is going to speak about what Christian said. I was like, didn't he do that on Collision and the show before that, and every other show since he told him to go fuck himself? Like, I don't understand. I think they're trying to play the long game or they're trying to extend this, but they don't have actual good creative to do this. So we end up getting like at some point there are definitely instances where like, okay, here's a feasible thing. Let's set the table. Let's play the story. But reality is you're talking to an audience who knows the story, who has lived through the story. And maybe there's a section of the audience who's 15 years old who doesn't really know Christian at all that was from W. I don't think anyone from WW. I think there's less overlap. I said this last week. I think there's less overlap with WWE people going to watch AEW than AEW people going to watch WWE. So I'm not
yeah,
imagining
they
there.
just won't watch. Like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they are fucking with AEW, they just won't watch it. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah. So I'm not imagining this like they're trying to retell the story for people who don't know. Everyone fucking knows. Y'all are the AEW people are the Google it. You can find who Vance Warner is on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like they're those niggas. So you can Google Edge and Christian's history. You can see all the funny stuff, but it takes you to WWE, which is counterintuitive to whatever you're doing. But you're like, wow, this was awesome. What happened here? Um, but I don't know. I think his first month, it it didn't give me the sizzle of Punk's first month, and even Punk was a very much so Punk is speaking kind of guy, but
Yeah.
it is yet to have the sizzle that CM Punk, the impact that CM Punk debuting made, because CM Punk is someone who changes business and gets people talking and stuff like that, and Edge.
Listen, man. I think you should have really just had Edge debut and face MJF. Like why you pay him so much money and you have him who Edge he needs something to sink his teeth into. I just think that like I know people love Christian unironically and probably ironically because of the dad stuff. I don't find the dad stuff that funny. I think it's just, you know, some like 4chan type shit to me. But um I think why not have him face MJF out the gate and really just go with that match. I feel like MJF has had this title for so long, and I don't know really what's come of it. Like, is this a memorable title reign besides the Danielson match and I guess some of the Adam Cole stuff? Like, was the Adam Cole match like a fiver to you at All In? I can't say that it was. I thought that it was, you know, it was fine, but other than that, just the creative has been dog shit, man. It's just really been bad.
I think honestly, it's more about MJF than the actual belt itself. I think the belt is very much so a prop in this. I feel like the cops just like, are they lost and just spinning the block? Um, but I feel like, yeah, the belt ends up kind of feeling like a prop sometimes, and it's more evident in this feud than anything because he's not even holding the belt. But it doesn't, until probably like the fatal 4-way match. It doesn't feel like people are wanting, like, this is what I'm striving for, to be AEW champion. It more feels like, how can I embarrass MJF, or how can I do, like, the goal is to beat
Or how,
MJF. That's,
or how
the
can
championship seems secondary.
MJF embarrass me? Because that seems to be like the one thing he does in every single unless you're Adam Cole, that seems to be the one thing that's a constant in all of this, you know? And
Right.
he's still the tag team champion by himself, right? He still has both belts, right?
I think so. Which was another problem that we talked about in our Discord. But yeah, I think he still is. But someone
That's
has to beat him. Someone has to beat the world champion to win those titles. You know what
do
I'm
they?
saying? And it's not like they have to. It's not like they have to beat Adam Cole to win it. Adam Cole's gone. They have to beat MJF to win this championship. So I'm just assuming no one's going to win this championship, but I could be wrong. I want to ask you a question though,
Yep.
unrelated to AEW. There was reports this week or last week that Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel made the decision to remove Vince McMahon from producing WWE television and has given full control to Triple H. What are your kind of thoughts on removing Vince McMahon from the position? I mean, Triple H has done an amazing job. I think it speaks for itself. I don't even think we need to kind of like harp too much on that, because I think his resume of the last year and change has kind of proven why he is where he is. What do you think about the decision to remove Vince McMahon from this?
And you're right. Triple H is absolutely like, I wouldn't even say overachieved. I think he's achieved exactly what we had imagined that he could when he was in that position and unfettered from Vince's meddling, right? Um, I got asked a question that a day ago about like, do you think Vince McMahon got um essentially got finessed out of the position? And you think about it, he probably did. You know what I'm saying? By the biggest finesser, Ari Emanuel. You know, he's the guy, but Vince stepped down, came back under like the legal provision that he had to sell the company if he did come back. Came back, wanted to have creative. Creative was Vince's poker chip, right? That was the chip that he had. It's the only thing he still had. If he
Right.
don't,
It's not gonna feel good if a Vince McMahon stamp ain't on it. Vince
yeah,
McMahon on the beat.
he would lose. Honestly, Mills, I feel like he would lose everything. He would lose the company. Just don't take away uh the creative, right? He would lose everything. That shit doesn't matter to him. So I think that when that happens and you still got all that legal shit over you, there's still legal shit going on right now with this guy. To keep him in creative or allow him to do kind of whatever he wanted to would be a bad idea. So Ari says, you know what? Triple H, and I said this on the show, the best thing Triple H could do is keep breaking these records. Keep breaking these records, keep breaking ratings records, keep making the shit look great. He's doing that. That's the only thing he needs to do. That makes Vince look bad, like worse, you know, by proxy. Because if Vince comes back, you're probably going to lose all that, right? You're going to lose that investment because people think that this is a new regime. So
Right.
Ari's looking at it like, we're doing fine without you. He's doing fine without you, and you know what? He don't got no cases pending. He don't got no cases over
Right.
his head. You know what? Sit it down. Because at the end
Right.
of the day, do I think he knew that was going to happen? Do I think Ari was just like waiting for it to happen? Absolutely, he did. It's the rope a dope. He roped him in. He said Nick and Paul are doing a great job. You can go sit down. And what is Vince doing? He's sitting his ass down at home. He can't do
He's like,
shit.
listen, man, you just had back. You probably gave him the schmooze. Listen, you just had back surgery. All right. Listen, just Just let the money pile up. You've done this for 40 years. Now you're gonna get the bulk of all this other money. Like Vince McMahon is still getting a lion's share of what WWE is worth. That he's established over the last 40 years, 50
He's a
years, 60
billionaire.
years.
He's a
Yeah,
billionaire.
he his I think he's very passionate about what he does, which is why he continues to do it and why he was so adamant to kind of still do it, right? Like, well, it's between the passion and like the direction of the company, which I think it's plays a role in it as well, because ultimately he still feels like, I think he still has an idea of what a star is, and the formula honestly has worked for a long, long, long time, and he continues to implement that formula. When you see people, we talked about people who are like H and who's Vince, and stuff. We see, like, for instance, the usually the larger people, Bobby, Brock, almost all these people feel like something like Vince projects, and with Triple H in control, we see a lot of these people kind of less. I think he still wants his finger on it some way, and I think honestly, he's still great as a consultant. And I think he's coming with big ideas for WrestleMania. I think he still has that in him. But I agree with Ari Emanuel. Like, I don't think he's needed anymore. I think he's done a great job building the foundation of what professional wrestling television looks like.
Mhm.
And he's good. Like, you good. Like, wrap it up. This is so weird, right? It's like the industry, you can't, sooner or later you have to transition to something else. If you want to stay relevant, you always have to continue rebuilding new stars, coming up with fresh ideas, all this other stuff like that. And it's so ironic that the people who complain about these things, like for instance, like the Adam Copelands or like Christians, like, I felt like the company wasn't using me in the way that they wanted, you know, that I wanted to, or I didn't feel like I was going to be utilized in a way, and I felt like we were just out of fresh ideas, is literally happening to Vince McMahon. Like,
He's
isn't
getting
that ironic?
he's getting the Michael Scott closing the door on the old guy gift.
Yeah.
Like,
He's also getting phased out, like some of our favorite wrestlers who have gone to AEW. So I don't think it's necessarily like, for instance, I feel like people always take it kind of personal in those aspects. Of like, how did they fumble this? How can they do this? And now Christian's doing a big thing and Edge is doing a big thing. I was like, this is just kind of the natural flow of the business. And you look at AEW and they their reliance on older talent, and you see that the progression that you want to have happen isn't happening. And that's why you see people like Jay jumping over to this side and Lexis King, and who knows, I mean, we're going to potentially talk about another name in a couple minutes of like who could come to WWE as well. But there are, rumblings of other younger talent, because like, you got to continue to progress and you got to continue to build these new stars and move forward. And that's exactly what WWE is doing now. Triple H is the hot shit right now. He just is.
yeah, he's fetch. He's definitely fetch right now. But um, I think in terms of like, did Vince know or did Ari know? I think they did. I think
I don't
that you
think
have.
Vince was like, fuck.
Well, no, Vince got outplayed. He got outfoxed. You know what I mean? Because essentially he had to give up the company because he had to actually fulfill the duty that he said he came back to do, or else they were gonna get sued. They were gonna be in trouble. So he sold the
Nick
company.
Khan probably been trying to do it, and then now he's just like, listen, it's the Ari thing. It's above me.
Yeah, it's above me. It does not serve me anymore. But
Right.
good thing about Endeavor is they're largely letting them do what the hell they want to do, and they're going to continue to do that the same way they do at UFC. So you sold it to the best place. You sold it to the best place. It's just that they don't really need you anymore.
I
And
think we'll see the biggest mark of Endeavor when WrestleMania comes. I think
oh,
that's when we'll see the biggest mark of Endeavor.
Rumble, Royal Rumble for sure. Like it could happen. It could start there. That's another stadium
Even
show.
now, we're starting to see a little trickling of it, because Survivor Series, they can't sell enough seats to that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They turn down the
They walking out on a tightrope.
yeah, man. It was
Series.
like, yo, we about to rent the movie theater next door, and y'all can watch it there too. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
They might bring back WWF New York to have people watching that shit. It'll be in Chicago though. Like it's gonna be crazy when April rolls around. But ultimately, I think it was the best move. I think there's a lot less trepidation and fear about actually liking from a lot of people that did have a lot of problems with actually watching the product, knowing that Vince was behind it. Like now that he's out of creative, there's a lot of people that are coming around to it. You know what I mean? And I think that's really what Endeavor wants. They want to get those lapsed fans. They want to get those people who felt uneasy about it to come back through. And they have bigger fish to fry. I mean, the TV deal with USA, they closed on that. Didn't get the best reaction, so they want to actually make a splash with wherever they take Raw and NXT. So in order to do that, you got to have a full package of things that look very good and enticing to investors and to also the companies that might want to buy into it. So, um, it's been a crazy year. We saw this is the year we saw the last Vince McMahon produced anything. But last, you know what I mean? Like that, I
Right?
never thought in my life I'd ever see that or hear that.
It's crazy. It's nuts. But hey, we lived long enough to see it. You know what I'm saying? I'm shocked that I've lived long enough to see it because this is someone who we thought would always be in the kind of like public eye, someone or at least be a part of the business. And shit, just know the only one who's part of the business and part of the McMahon family now is Triple H, and he's like kind of McMahon. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Um,
he's definitely McMahon. Speaking of things that I didn't think I'd live long enough to see, Impact Wrestling
whew.
is now reverted back to TNA Total Nonstop Action,
Do we know why they went to Impact?
or went back
Why
to
they
TNA.
changed? No, no, no. Why they changed their name initially from TNA to Impact?
I think it was something to do with when they got taken over
By
by
Anthem, right?
Anthem. Yeah. So TNA was that until what year was it? Like 2014, 2015, or something like that?
Mm. Oh
Um
yes, the whole Billy Corgan thing. Yeah,
yeah, so like they were on Destination, and then it was weird. Like there's so much, and again, like my history of TNA is just terrible. So like again, I'm like guessing
as is
completely.
most people. It says, all right, I'll read the Wikipedia thing. Anthem Sports, a company owned by blah blah blah, purchased a majority stake of TNA, reorganized in TNA's parent company. Dixie Carter retained 5% minority stake in the company, but resigned as chairwoman after 14 years with the company and joined Fight Media's advisory board. Sounds like something that literally just happened. Um, the promotion's parent company, TNA Entertainment, was firstly changed to Impact Ventures and then Anthem Wrestling Exhibitions LLC. This literally sounds like what just happened. Um, with Anthem's executive vice president Ed Norton becoming the new president of the company. Wow, this is exactly what happened. I'm talking about with WWE. On January 5th, Jeff Jarrett was brought back by Anthem to serve as a consultant. Wow. Anthem rebranded the promotion as Impact Wrestling after its primary television series 2 months later. And then they said that Drew McIntyre, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, and mad people left after that. Okay, so yeah, now I guess it can be TNA again.
Yeah, I to me this looks like they're basically saying we got a roster now, which they do. They got a roster of people. They got Alex Shelley as the world champion. It's Chris Sabin as the Impact X Division champion or TNA X Division champion. They got a good tag team with Ace Austin and Chris Bay. They've got Trinity in their women's division, so that's a huge get for them. They have all of those. We got a roster. Let's get some people talking about us again. And changing the name gets people to talk because I've never seen this many people talk about Impact or TNA for the past like couple years as I have over the weekend. And I don't know how long this talk is gonna last. Like that's not even up for me to say. It's good to have some excitement around another promotion because there needs to be some excitement in the business in general. But it does seem like this is a rebrand just to get some press releases out there in terms of like, hey, this is what we're offering now. We are back to TNA. I don't think, for all intents and purposes, that the product itself is going to change, but they have a good roster. They have a good roster of people
Hey,
now.
man, they could throw some more lights in that motherfucker. It's kind of dark when you watch that damn
Hey,
show, bro.
hey, bro, come on. They fighting at the Fisherman's Wharf. Nigga. They're fighting at where the Vanilla Ice was performing on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Part 2, Secret of the Ooze. That's where they're fighting at.
Wow, you really showed your age with that one.
And nobody remembers the ninja rap? All right.
I
I'll,
don't. I don't. Sorry.
I'll, you're old enough, but whatever. You know
I know.
what?
I definitely am old enough, but I haven't seen it, so maybe it's
Drag.
me.
It's okay. Drag me. It's all right. It's cool.
But what I say is it possible CM Punk shows up in TNA wrestling? CM Punk pulled up to the was it Bound for Glory, I guess. Um, Pulled up to the show. It was in Chicago, so you know he had to pull up. That's what he does. You show up in Chicago, he pulls up to your show.
You got to check in. He's like, what's the guy from Detroit? Trick. He's
Hey, what's
you got
going on here?
wrestling show? Yeah, you gotta check in and pay your dues, brother.
Hey, man. If I pulled up, I'd have been like, "Oh, wait a minute! Don't hurt me." Like that would have been the first thing I did. He would not have liked me. Um, but
He blocked you, so I already know he doesn't like you. So yeah.
well, I feel like he'd like me in person. I feel like he just blocked me because I'm too shocking. I'm too edgy on Twitter apparently. Um, but is this something you could see, even if it was like one time deal? CM Punk, TNA.
There ain't enough money in the world.
They would have to
that
find the money.
they would have to fire everyone. I know they would be welcome. I mean, Scott Demore would have to take out a mortgage on his house to pay this man to just be there. And the
I
thing
would
is,
just one shot, just have him do a one shot. You know what I'm saying?
one shot gonna cost you 1 million. You feel me? I think yes, it would be a get for them. It would definitely. The thing is with TNA is that no one knows where to watch it. Nobody knows where to actually watch this. So like, is it on Destination America? Is it on Tubi? Like where the fuck is it? Nobody knows where it is, right? So
Nobody knows.
nobody knows. So the thing is with Punk, being there, or potentially if they wanted to bring him in, yes, you're going to get that initial pop, right? You're going to get that initial, excitement that happens and that goes down there. But I think that you're essentially renting him because he's only going to be there until WWE calls and says, "All right, we're ready. Like the heat's died down, and you can come back." So
But
you're
would you
essentially
do it? Would you do it? I might still do it though. Like I might say like, yo,
it's
like one
too
match.
early. It's too early. He just beat somebody up 2 months ago. You
TNA
don't.
don't care.
I think that. Uh,
TNA WWE got less to lose than TNA got to lose. You know what
I
I'm saying?
I
TNA
think
might hire some convicts right now to fill up the roster.
it's still too hot, bro. It's too hot even for TNA, bro. Like it's just too hot. And the thing is whenever that heat dies down, they're not going to be the only people calling. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like, okay, the heat's died down and Drew needs a program. What's up? He's gonna say yes. He's gonna say yes.
TNA made a racist woman the world champion. I feel like they would be like they'd weigh the options of like what's the better, what's the best option for us. I would, if I was TNA, I would at least see like, yo, you want to do one match thing. Like you could do you show up to one taping, film like 73 weeks of television, you know.
What?
You know what I'm saying?
So
Um
essentially, he's gonna have to agree that like whatever I do here, like if I leave, essentially
if I
I'm going.
leave, it's y'all showing reruns because
Yeah, because you're not gonna be able to play it. WWE's not gonna allow that. They're not gonna allow him to be on two shows at once, even if they are cool with TNA. Like that's just business. Like you just can't do that.
TNA not. I would understand if it was AEW, but
Yeah.
I'm sure WWE knows it's like they ain't finding TNA on television, bro. Like he out there in the ether yelling at somebody else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He coming back to the Rumble today, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't think it. I don't think it will. I'm just playing this up. I don't think CM Punk will land in TNA, but it was good to him. Show his face, give some advice to the young kids. He's
It's
really doing
nice.
his community service.
He just wants to help, as he said. He just wants to
I just
patch
want to help.
help,
I just want to help.
just like Cope. Everyone just wants to fucking help in here.
Everyone just wants to help.
Speaking of help or people needing help, there's a lot of rosters that need some new acts coming out in the next
Mm,
couple months. A lot of contracts are coming up.
hmm
One guy that's contract is coming up by the end of the year is the boy Will Ospreay. I had always assumed that he was a lock for AEW. I'm not changing my mind on that. He's come out and saying, he's open to a move to the WWE and also living in America full time. He mentions unfinished business with Seth Rollins. Obviously, that's something that people want to see. Mentions that his body's breaking down. He doesn't have much longer, and he kind of wants to, I guess explore these options if he's able to do that, knowing that he doesn't have much time left. This is a young guy talking about his body's breaking down, by the way. But
Have you seen the way he wrestles?
I mean, yeah, I've seen it. I'm just saying that it's kind of crazy that he's now just saying that out loud. But
Yeah, that's
um,
true.
I think that here's my thoughts on this.
He's 30 years old. Oh my god.
Do people do I know a lot of people kind of do the comparison to like Osprey and like an AJ or Nakamura when they came over. I don't think he's been on American TV long enough for that to even make sense to me. Is as stellar as he is, regardless of how stellar he is in the ring, right? Which he is, right?
Right.
Um, I can't. I don't think that's comparable. I think that it would very much be a issue of he's going to have to start from scratch in WWE in a way that he won't have to start from scratch in AEW. He's just automatically there.
It's
And
weird because I could see WWE, if they wanted to, saying, "Hey, this guy has been a world champion across the globe." Pulling up some progress footage and shit, New Japan photos. That's probably it. But they'll pull up, Sports Illustrated. I feel like if they wanted to say like this guy was a big deal, they could. But I
mhm,
agree with you ultimately. I feel like in terms of just like the presence of Osprey itself, he's not he just I wouldn't put him in front of TV. I wouldn't put him on TV right now
mhm.
on main roster TV. I guess I just wouldn't do that. Yeah.
I couldn't see it. I think that it's not like a Jade Cargill where it's and I know a lot of people will probably compare the two. Like he should be kind of treated like her. It's like it's not really the same type of deal. Like Jade is looked at in a different way just because of this is a black woman that looks like a fucking superhero. You know what I mean? At best, and she's also worked on the number two promotion for 2 years before she got here. You know what I'm saying? Well, Osprey not so much. I mean, I know that the G1 wins and the New Japan title wins they get people into a tizzy, but I can't say that that really matters much in America if that makes any sense. Like what do you think? What do you think that it's comparable?
Um it's weird because, well, actually, I'll say no. I'll say no because I wouldn't compare it to AJ because AJ is also, before WWE, he had worked 20 years for various different promotions and at the time was at the number two promotion as their top guy for a decade. So he knows how to carry himself when you're the top guy of a company, which Osprey, I mean, New Japan kind of, but the way New Japan has kind of like figured itself out over the last 5 years, I wouldn't say that's much of an accomplishment. um, AEW, he's had cups of coffee in AEW. So he hasn't, it's like you got the freelance but never had the full-time job, so we can't give you full-time, thing.
Full time
Um,
pay.
yeah, we can't give you full-time pay. It's like, nigga, you freelance? That's not really a job. Um, which I hate, by the way. If there's anyone who hates that, it's me. Um, but I feel like you put him on TV, you put him next to his contemporaries, which would be the other people from across the pond, the Drew McIntyres, the Sheamuses, the Butch and Ridge Hollands, and all these other people. And I don't know, he just doesn't. I wouldn't necessarily accept him off the rip. WWE would have to build him up like a fucking cyborg and say like he has come here to kill everyone. You
But
know?
you know where he like works a lot better to me, where it would make a lot more sense in the same way that it made sense when it was Gunther. If NXT Europe was still a thing, he would be. I think Will Ospreay is the type of talent out there where if he was to sign to NXT and they had a base out in Europe, that could be a touring brand. That could be a brand that could go all around that continent. And when he comes over to the United States to do NXT or do main roster or Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, it is a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Like it is legitimately a big deal because this is someone who's coming from, he runs it over there and he comes over here. You know what I'm saying? And I think Gunther, to a smaller extent, that happened when he actually did show up in NXT. Like I thought that was a really cool moment, but it would be way bigger if they had that moment with Will Ospreay. I just don't think it happens the same way now that they don't have a home base in the UK anymore, and they can't really do that, which kind of sucks. But I think that they need to be, well, not they. I think he needs to be real. I don't know, like he needs to be doing this, right? He needs to be
We're
selling himself. I
right.
think that's fine, but I think that he needs to be in a place where it'll allow him to be like the best version of himself. I just don't think he
Where
would be the same person in WWE that he is now.
where should he go? And where do you think he will go?
He's an AW. Like I don't know why this is even a conversation. He's an AW. Like he's already. I'm pretty sure that he's already got the contract in front of him. Like that.
You think
I'm
it's a
not.
verbal
Fuck yeah. I think he's
verbal
just.
agreement?
Yeah, he's trying to drive he's trying to drive the bag up. I get it. I don't think he's going to WWE, bro. He can't handle that. That's not somewhere his ex girlfriend's there. He don't want to be there. He's all right.
Who's his ex girlfriend?
Blair Davenport.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you would put you on the main roster. I'd be like, no, but um, that's crazy. Um,
You didn't know that?
no, I didn't know that at all. I
that's
mean, I'm
why they
sure you.
that's why they broke up because she left because she went to
She
WWE.
went to WWE.
Yeah, that's why
Do
they
your
broke up.
thing, girl. Do your thing.
He low key might be trying to get that old thing back if he do go to
Hey,
WWE.
listen. Come up with the bag. Come on. They
He's
put
like,
me on TV like everybody else. I'm being treated like I'm Jade over here. Um, listen. I might show up on your roster. I might not. It's my choice. Um, flex on your old thing by shining to their company with much bigger pay. That would be nuts. Um,
she would probably
but
honestly be called up before he even got there, though. Not gonna lie.
yeah, yeah, probably she's ready. But I think so. Part of me wants to see him in WWE because I do feel like we're missing. I don't know if we're missing that next top star guy, but there's very few now. It's becoming incredibly rare that anyone who's really the journeyman is really in WWE, especially one the caliber of Will Ospreay. So personally, me, I would like to see him in WWE. I think it continues that chain of the Seth Rollins, the CM Punks, Brian Danielsons, that kind of like, how do you come, you're the journeyman, you come, you kind of have to start over and you build your new career and you become a better, honestly, performer because of it. Um, in AEW, the thing that turns me off, albeit to be honest with you, I think he's been treated better than a lot of people there, and he's not even signed there.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like he's being it's just some expert courting of like you're winning these matches against these top guys and you're not even signed to the
He,
company.
bro, beating Kenny, he's beating Jericho.
Right.
That's why I just don't see a world where he doesn't sign there, bro. Like
But 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 I feel like long term creative. The red flag that stands out with me is Jay White because as as fine as Jay White is, pause, but he, I think it's just I was like, this is what we're doing with him, like this. And what's to kind of stop it from becoming something different? Like, I feel like they write wrestlers with kind of like one note, and it's very rare they're presented in a different way unless you go out your way to be presented in a different way. Unless you're Tony Storm and doing, fantastical magical shit. Unless you're, honestly, that might be it. But
I think that I think that Jay White talks too much, and I think they're not exactly, they don't know how to create a strong. Again, there's no development. You know what I mean? It seems like
because
the
if I'm signing Will Ospreay to AEW, he's my next AEW champion. Forget
day one,
everybody else.
yeah, day one. But
Off
again,
rip, pay-per-view, first pay-per-view of the year, he's winning it.
but
MJF, sorry, but whatever.
he has to leapfrog Cope. He has to leapfrog all these other older guys that get paid more than him. He's got to leapfrog. I'm pretty sure Kenny don't got a problem with him being a champ, but I just don't think he leapfrogs Kenny for a title either. The way the company is constructed, there is no way that anyone is going to the top other than those EVPs and Jericho and all of them and MJF. Like, that's just the way that it is.
Right. No, you're right. You're right. I think one, Tony Khan has kind of it set up and like, here's how I pictured the next 3 months with my AEW title going. And he's been known not to be necessarily flexible with kind of like how he promotes talent. Like the Adam Cole versus MJF thing will still happen. He will not move on from it.
Uh,
When his leg fuses back together, it will happen again potentially. But I mean, I think honestly, yeah, Osprey should probably go to AEW. Um, but I'd like to see him test it out in WWE just to see what kind of like, he's still young. They have a better kind of like, I mean, this will be less of a toll on his body, but I feel like he'll learn how to wrestle better to protect his body in WWE. I think you have people like AJ Styles who've done it for years. I think you have people on top like Seth Rollins who've done it for years, even though his back is hurting. Oh my God, his back.
that's hurt,
But
bro. He's back.
I think,
Hurt.
yeah, I think he's, I think he'll be much better off in WWE long term. But hey, maybe this
That's
is
him
a
right there.
play.
That's him
Hey,
right there.
gotta be. Hey, bro.
One more thing before we get out of here, we gotta of course talk about the shows this week on Patreon. If you don't have Patreon, make sure you sign up there so you can check out our show reviews. A lot of people kind of are enjoying our show reviews. They're kind of more long form than they were on the regular show, so that's pretty cool. But Lexus King makes his debut this week on Halloween Havoc. We'll talk a little bit about Halloween Havoc on Patreon as well. Um, I've been lipo on this. I've been letting it play out, and I feel pretty confident in the guy. I think he'll actually do pretty well there. I don't want to put a ceiling on him yet. But what are your thoughts? How have you felt about the presentation of him? He's the second, or really the third, or really he's after Cody, so Jade is the third. He's the second AEW wrestler to jump from there to WWE. What have you felt about it so far?
I mean, I like the haircut aside. Um, I like how it's been presented. I want to see him kind of I
Work?
need to see it in action. Yeah, I need to see
Yeah.
it in action is what I'll
Okay.
say. Um, but I like everything that I've seen thus far. I
Okay.
like, yeah, I like the presentation is what I'll say.
It's all about the presentation. Kid can talk, apparently, as I see here, and I'm interested in seeing where he will be programmed in to NXT, which seems to be almost undergoing its own kind of not restart, but kind of revamp into another generation that we're going to talk about on Patreon. But we want to thank you guys for listening to the show.
Before we go, I want to
Oh,
say,
oh, we got a big announcement too. Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah, that's two things though. I want to shout out our new patrons. Shout out to Nevik, who joined. Shout out to, I think, Godfrey. I think we did yours, but I'll do you again. Pause. But Jordan Parker and Banks, who's returning once again. So um shout out to everyone who is signed up for the A Show Patreon. We got some special content. I mean, literally in a matter of minutes, we're going to be doing some special content. So shout out
Yep.
to that. And then second major announcement is because of our 6th anniversary show, next week we will be bringing back hot takes. And because of all you guys who have listened for the past number of years, it will be extended beyond our Patreon borders for the first time in a very, very long time. So everyone will be able to submit a hot take. Actually, I'm going to put it so you can submit hot takes or questions. Some of y'all hot takes is not really hot takes, but but we'll take it so you can submit hot takes, you can submit questions. It'll be a hot take Halloween. You know what I'm saying?
I like
So
that.
make sure, yeah, listen, we do it big. And then we also have another announcement. Merch is coming very, 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 very soon. I would say put away the money right now because it's coming incredibly, incredibly soon. If you need to win on FanDuel, just, $20 something, just bring it back. When merch is coming very, very soon. So that is all I'll say about that. You'll learn more about that when we have our Halloween hot takes.
Yes, sir. And with that, for Meelz, I'm Justin. Thank you guys for listening to the A Show. We'll see you guys next week for hot takes, predictions for Crown Jewel, and more on the show. Going to be pretty lengthy. So make sure you check that out. Thank you for listening. Make sure you listen to the War Report this week with Cyrus and Quan. They'll be talking about the latest, greatest, latest, and most ridiculous of AEW on their
Listen
show.
to the Lookout with Ricochet. Listen to the Lookout with
Yeah,
Ricochet on it.
well, listen, big WWE week, big AEW week. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next week on the A Show.